Hi everybody, it's Sid from Cool Moviegram, your source for everything about cool film. Be sure again to hit that subscribe button, check out my other content, like my videos, and just let me know what you think. I know it's been a long time, but I'm going to be more frequent and a bit more kind of active with my content. I'm just going to try and see if I can get more out. So you're looking more than just one video a week. Just going to try and put out a few and see how things go from there, and hopefully we'll bump up the numbers a bit more, and maybe I can move on to more new things that I could try out with my channel too. Yeah, today we're going to be reviewing a film called The Untold Story. Of course, this is the 88 Films Deluxe Edition, which it's a 1993 film, kind of like a serial killer, true crime inspired movie, starring Anthony Wong and Danny Lee and a host of others, and also it's directed by Herman Yau. And yeah, so without further ado, let's just the film starts off with 1978, where Wong Chi-hung he actually kind of like gets into an argument with someone that he knows and ends up kind of committing a grisly murder. And in order to kind of escape, he kind of creates a fake ID. Then eventually, 8 years later, they find parts of a body are discovered on a Macau beach by a young child, and this leads a rather incompetent police kind of like team of police officers to kind of find out what's going on. And eventually things kind of like lead towards the Eight Immortals restaurant, and which is famous for its pork buns. And of course the owner happens to be, the man claiming to be the owner is Wong Chi-hung. But what people don't know is that Wong Chi-hung has been committing some grisly crimes just to kind of usurp the business, and he has actually kind of been just an outright asshole about these things. And you know, he's been feeding people, you know, other people, and you know, this kind of like, you know, the ground starts shrinking, and wow, we kind of see how this thing unfolds. This film itself, now in terms of like it's probably the most gruesome film I have ever seen to date. I mean, I could watch as many horror movies full of blood and guts and God knows what, but none of them come close to being as sick and vile as this film. I just think it's absolutely disgusting. I mean, especially the scene where he kind of like sexually assaults a woman and kills her at the same time. It just is really kind of sickening. It's just gross. It just seems too real for like to be watching on a screen. And then also when it includes a scene with like a whole family, including children, being brutally murdered on the screen, you know, when you're watching that happening. It's just like, for me, it was like, this is something I can't sit with. I mean, fair enough, I can watch people getting mutilated, I can watch people getting killed, I can watch God knows what, but when it comes to children being harmed and, you know, graphic scenes like that, I mean, that's just something that I just cannot kind of like stomach. It's not something that I would want to kind of actively revisit again. Overall, Anthony Wong, again, he is an amazing actor. I mean, he did get his Hong Kong Film Award for Best Actor, and he did a great job of capturing this really kind of like disgusting, vile creature of a person. And you know, it's great to see kind of even, well, I mean, the fact is the police officers that are supposed to be investigating like these things that are going on, and it was actually kind of inspired by like a true case where like a whole family was actually killed by someone, and they kind of like took that whole kind of sensationalism and they kind of brought it into the film. Like, you know, it's okay directed, I would say. I mean, Herman Yau is a very capable director. The acting was pretty good. The cops are just like completely useless in this film. They just want to like, all they want to do is just get their leg over, really. That's all they seem to be thinking about, is just getting laid. And they just come on to any woman that flipping comes in their way. And yeah, it's just, it's just that whole scene of like, Anthony Wong's character, Wong Chi-hung, just kind of like committing these crimes, and especially when you see what happens to that family, it's just kind of like, it's too gruesome. You don't want to watch it. It's just kind of like, maybe it's just being a father as well. And that kind of like, for me, it's like, it's just not something that I could kind of like sit through again. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like blood, guts, and dismembered body parts, and God knows what happening in this film. And the visual effects, it just looks too very graphic and very real. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's just not really a pleasant watch. Yeah, the film itself, I mean, this is the first time I'm going to say, because I might take away from the artistic kind of qualities of this film, and the way, I mean, like I said, again, nothing against the makers or even the director and even the actual actors in this film. I'm going to say this is the first time the Untold Story gets a 0. It gets no rating whatsoever, because I just don't feel it's going to be fair on this movie. Now, okay, we're going over the Blu-ray. And it comes in this rigid box set, like all the deluxe editions from 88 films, with artwork again by the amazing Kung Fu Bob O'Brien. You just look at that, man. It's just, Anthony Wong, he just did a great job of capturing this like really kind of demented, sick, twisted individual. And yeah, as you can see, and then of course the man who plays Cops, aka Danny Lee, that's a registered trademark for him. Yeah, and you kind of got the back, and then the film itself, it comes in a regular kind of like reversible sleeve as well. So you got the one side, you got the Kung Fu Bob amazing artwork, and there you have the Hong Kong poster. And of course the disc art, again, it is the Kung Fu Bob O'Brien artwork. I mean, it's just so good. I think whenever he does artwork for a film, now of course this is just a great, probably one of the most notorious category 3 films. I mean, it even comes with a fold out poster, where on one side you have the again, you've got Kung Fu Bob's amazing work, and then the other side you have the original theatrical poster with the category 3 sign right there. Yeah, of course, category 3 is something that they kind of say is suitable for 18 years or over. It's kind of like controversial movies. I mean, this is probably as controversial as they come, with the kind of scenes that they're on. And then you've got this this really good, really interesting kind of like this booklet. It's got full of like lots of some interesting essays about the truth, and also kind of mentioning like other things such as like how it links up with the this followed like a movie called Dr. Lamb, which starred Simon Yam, which I watched a long time ago, and I remember it being rather gruesome. In terms of the bonus content, now of course the uncut, this is a fully uncut film as well, so of course you got all the blood, guts and everything. It's a limited edition rigid slipcase with a double-sided fold-out poster, perfect bound book with new writing on the film by Zoe Smith and Paul Bramhall. Great, really interesting essays, presented in the 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio, lossless 2.0 Cantonese mono, newly translated English subtitles, isolated score. You got audio commentary with Hong Kong film expert Frank Jeng. That was an interesting commentary, I would say. It kind of goes into a lot of the history and like the kind of like the who's who of like Hong Kong cinema and everything. And that was actually an okay watch. A lot of the time I was just looking away, especially when it kind of like came to some of the more gruesome scenes. I just had to kind of like, I ain't gonna sit through this. And same thing goes for the archive commentary with director Herman Yau, which is probably from a previous release of the film. You got Hong Kong Superstars, which is Anthony Wong's UK visit. It was actually my hometown this happened, which was at the Midlands Arts Centre, the MAC, which is in Birmingham. And you kind of get to see, like, back then when he was living in an apartment in Hong Kong, and he kind of shown a bit more of like his music career. He's he's kind of like a rock star at the same time as like being an actor. And Cantonese Carnage, an interview with Rick Baker. I mean, Rick Baker is pretty much a very valid source when it comes to like Hong Kong movies and the history and whatnot, and he knows quite a lot. Because, you know, him and Toby Russell were the ones who kind of like one of the forefront guys who were kind of bringing a lot of Hong Kong movies to VHS back with their Eastern Heroes label. The trailers, which is the Hong Kong trailer and the English trailer, and the, of course, reversible covers. Now, I mean, in terms of the package of the DVD, the presentation of the film, the fact that it's actually in a you know, a really good kind of like hot HD transfer. I mean, the film looks pretty much, you know, really good. And but again, it's a very unpleasant movie, and I don't think I'd ever watch this again. Like, I'm not going to sit through this again. Like, no. You know, this is you know, it's like, yeah, 88 films again. These boutique labels like 88, Eureka, Arrow, you know, they all do great jobs when it comes to like releasing some of these classic titles. But again, you know, which is, you know, there's no effort that's kind of like that's held back on when it comes to this film. And you know, in terms of this release, just like all the other releases, they've done a really good job. And apart from that, I just don't think, you know, again, this is just a movie that I don't think I could actually sit through again. And yeah, I don't know. So, you know, it's a 5 out of 5 in terms of the Blu-ray, but again, the movie's just a 0 rating, because it's just I mean, I remember this is one of the people that I got to know, one of the YouTubers that I know, Rick, which is the old AF film reviewer. He actually did a video of like all the most, you know, gruesome films that he's seen. But then, I mean, I would say, you know what, listen, if you, Rick, if you can sit through this movie here, The Untold Story, trust me, this is, if you want to look for something that's completely unsettling, I would say, yeah, you need to check this out. You know, it might be something that I know it's got like a really big cult following. I'm not saying it's a bad film, but it's just, it's not something that I would want to watch again. And yeah, but yeah, I know it is kind of like, it is unsettling. And yeah, who knows? I don't even know if I'm going to hold on to this or not. But you know what? It is what it is, man. Yeah, I just don't think I could sit through it again. But yeah, overall, I mean, the release was really good. I mean, again, it's just 88 films. They don't hold back when it comes to like the packaging and stuff. So, well, especially on the previous releases. But yes, see how it goes. Anyways, because that was it. That was just a quick kind of like a quick kind of like just a quick review as such, well, you know, of this movie. And then just let me know, what did you think? I mean, what is the most unsettling film, most disturbing film that you've seen? Could be this, or it could be something else, I don't know. But yeah, what are the most disturbing films that you've ever seen? Okay, catch you on the next one.